And I don't know if they would eventually had gotten through with their dialysis today if they went down there and tell them, oh, I'm having headache, oh, I'm having vision changes, oh, I'm having, numbness sensation to my hand and my leg. I don't know, because not all the time persons go in full detail and explain how they're feeling. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am on my way to see a patient. So this patient called to say that they wanted a visit. So I finally got a chance to go over there to see them because the patient had a fall. But the thing about it is that, some falls you can be like, but when you have a patient that is on, is a fall risk, and a patient that is also on blood thinners, those patients you definitely need to go and see them immediately. And depending on the age group, you definitely need to go and see them immediately. So this patient has been having some numbness and tingling sensation to the left side or the right side of the body for the last 2 weeks. He wasn't able to grip properly with his right hand, and so he lost balance and fell. When he fell at that time, he bumped his head, the back of his head, and he never lost consciousness or anything. Since then, he has been having numbing sensation to the right side of his body and tingling. He's also having a headache. But before that, he does get blood thinners from the dialysis center, where he has his treatments done like on a Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So he have like a bunch of blood thinners on board. So anyways, I went in and saw him, heard the story, because I never get any of those at the time when I was told to go and see him. I only heard that he had a fall. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and see him, because as I say, some patients definitely I will see them in a very quick time depending on what's going on. So yesterday I got the call. I was trying to see if I could finish up what I was doing, but it was too late. So I said, all right, I'll come and see you early in the morning. So it was a good thing I went over there, because they were planning on going to the dialysis center. And I don't know if they would eventually had gotten through with their dialysis today if they went down there and tell them, oh, I'm having headache, oh, I'm having vision changes, oh, I'm having, numbness sensation to my hand and my leg. I don't know, because not all the time persons go in full detail and explain how they're feeling. Depending on what you're looking for, depending on how you think about certain things, if somebody comes up and say, oh, I had a fall, depending on the age group, you'll ask specific questions, just to kind of find out if there is anything that is detrimental or will cause any life-threatening issues, or anything that will cause any deficit. So you definitely want to go ahead and ask all of those questions. So it was a good thing I went ahead and start dig up. As I say, you have to be very inquisitive when you're taking care of a patient, and especially when you're doing house calls. You have to be inquisitive. And inquisitive is just gonna make you, learn more about your patients and treat your patients a little bit better. You understand? So just be inquisitive and always be hungry to get the information that you need. So as I say, it was a good thing that I went ahead and asked all of those questions, because it is sounding as though this gentleman had a stroke at the time, a TIA, and is still having probably residual effects from that, or he's having effects from the fall where he bumped his head. And as I say, he is on blood thinner, so usually you're not going to really have the symptoms, patients presenting with the symptoms until later on. I don't know if this gentleman has a subdural cooking up right there, so a subdural hematoma, that is. I don't know if he's having any of those cooking up right now, given the fact that he's been on blood thinners for so long, bumped the head or hit the head, and now having the headache and the numbness sensation persisting. So I went ahead and asked if they wanted me to call 911, and the daughter was like, well, he's been having the symptoms for 2 weeks, so she deferred and said she will just bring him to the hospital, because that's going to cost her a lot of money to transport him 5 minutes away from the house. I have to offer to call the ambulance, and then I just document what the patient says, because as I said, the patient lives 5 minutes away, And you and I know that the ambulance is going to take about 15 minutes to drive come to the patient and then, you know, transport the patient. So even though we know the best thing would have been the ambulance, it never really made much sense for that patient at the time because they live right, you know, in that vicinity for the hospital. And it's a trauma hospital as well as a neuro hospital. It's a level 1 hospital. So there's no way, you know, I'm going to be like, you know, oh, you definitely have to go on the ambulance. No, we don't need to be doing that. All right. So that was it for her. So she's bringing him over to the hospital as we speak, and then I will do a follow-up with the patient, you know, after their discharge. So I'm just hoping that, you know, it's nothing, or if it's anything, it's just something minor. We just catch it at the right time. But as I say, you know, when it comes on to doing house calls, it is very important for you to understand your pathophysiology, understand, you know, how you go about with asking certain questions. Those are very vital, you know, because as I say, you can just miss something and it can cause the patient, you know, his or her life, or it can just cause some complication that could have been missed or prevented. So it's important for us to make sure we ask the right questions, examine our patients properly, and advise appropriately, and document as well, you know, document as well, because as I say, a lot of times in the house call setting, some patients, they definitely have family members around who is able to assist with certain things. And when it comes on to transport it, especially for persons who have their insurance and they know how much they will pay, you know, for one of those little transport to the hospital, and if they know they live like 5 minutes away from the hospital, there's no way they're gonna allow you to call the ambulance to pick up their relative if the relative is not dying. You understand? If they are in need of resuscitation, that's different. But when you have a patient that is like, you know, quote unquote stable, the vital signs at the time when you look is normal, you know, everything else is normal except the one or two little complaint that the patient has, nobody is gonna have you call 911 to get them to the hospital when they could actually just put the patient in the car and drive, especially when the patient has been having the symptoms for a while. All right, so at the end of the day, as I say, it's how you document certain things, you know, is gonna help with saving you sometimes, because as I say, you can always go ahead and you know, offer the service, offer whatever it is that you want as a part of your plan of care, but remember, you know, to write the patient's response or what they're going to be doing in the situation, so that way you don't put yourself in that, you know, position where it is said that if they pull the chart, you know, 2 years from now or 1 month from now, it is said that, oh, you see that the patient had stroke-like symptoms, but you never call 911. If there is something that you definitely want to do for your patient, but the patient is refusing, the family member is refusing, make mention of it in your notes and go ahead and just document it for yourself. Even if it's not for the patient benefit, document it for your own self, because you are the professional that is, you know, providing the care, and in the best interest of your the patient, you know, this is what you think will benefit them. And in the best interest of your license, you documenting this and the patient refusing it is going to save you your license when, you know, there is an audit or if something happens and they want to, you know, play the blame game one way or the other. All right, so that's all I'm going to share regarding this situation with this patient. Remember to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on, and remember to give the video a thumbs up, a like, and a share. Until then, thank you so much for tuning into the Think Nursing channel. Bye.